All right, thanks everybody for being here this morning. We will go through the agenda, see if there's any changes or questions to get answered. get ready for our meeting at 10. First, we have approved monthly bills, approved May 2022 monthly bills. Any questions? All right, approval of minutes, May 31st, 2022, 5 p.m. work session, June 6, 2022, 5:30 p.m. work session, June 6, 2022, 6 p.m. council meeting. There's been no changes. Any questions? All right, resolutions. Resolution 22-141, award bid number 22014 for demolition of the structures at the former ADM site, hereby awarded to Virginia Wrecking Company, being the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $73,143 net cost.
I don't have any changes, but I did have a little intel that I can add with it now, or if you need it.
You can add it now.
Just to give y'all a little bit of history. Been a lot of things that have been looked at in the past as far as demolishing these buildings or cleaning the site, taking the sides off up like pavilions and whatnot. But the last time this project just for the demolition was bid back in 2017, the low bid was $102,000, which just was for the cost of the demolition. That would not have completely cleared the side of fences and trees and whatnot. And then back in 2019, we had solicited bids to clear the site itself of fences and trees with forestry grinders and whatnot, and that came in at 28 grand back then. So I think what we have at this point, that this going to do all of that for us is probably quite a bargain. I just wanted to share that when I found my old documentation.
David, did the council consider that in 2019, basically by a vote?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. Nobody had the money budgeted for it at that time, and it didn't make it in the next year's budget for projects.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for David? All right, resolution 22-142, approved capital improvements to the security gate at the Decatur Police Range. Okay, any questions? Resolution 22-143, authorized police department expenditure of $600,000 for purchase and outfitting of fleet vehicles. All right, any questions? Kyle, help me on this. We talked about this, I guess, in the meeting last week, but this is what you would have been budgeting. You would have proposed to budget for 23.
Correct. So the purpose.
So there will be no
correct
budget.
The purpose of doing it now is to give him the ability to get the inventory he has his hands on. Currently, we didn't do it now. We could run the risk waiting September, October time to be in the same boat we've been in, and not,
Which is you can't get them.
right. So the budget that would be proposed for 23's budget, it will not have the 600,000 since we're doing it now.
That's good with you? Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, resolution 22-144, approved budget amendment for the purchase of additional garbage carts from Auto Environmental Services. All right, any questions? Resolution 22-145, approved PPM consultants to assist with brownfield grant application.
No change.
All right, any questions? And resolution 22-146, approved 2022-2023 CDBG action plan.
No change.
Any questions? And then boards and committees, appoint Douglas Morse for his first full term to the library board with term ending June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Any questions? All right, we'll get started at 10 o'clock. Thanks. good.
Turn the knob.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order.
Turn the knob.
Daniel Boutwell is going to lead us in our invocation and pledge.
Let us pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day, Lord, that you've given us. We thank you for these men and women that's here today. And God, we ask you, Lord, to bless the leaders, Lord, that's here. Help us, Father, that we do your business, that'll be an orderly and satisfactory to you. And God, we ask you, Lord, you just bless each and every one of us here today. Thank you for all the things you've given us. In Christ's name we do pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, Daniel. Roll call. Here.
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 Hi, I'm here. Sorry.
All right, first on the agenda is approve monthly bills. Approve May 2022 monthly bills.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 The monthly bills are approved with a vote of 5-0. Next, we have approval of minutes, May 31st, 2022, 5 p.m. work session.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 May 31st, minutes are approved 5-0. Next is June 6th, 2022, 5:30 p.m. work session.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 June 6th, 2022, 5:30 p.m. work session approved with a vote of 4-0 with one abstention. Next is June 6th, 2022, 6 p.m. council meeting.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 June 6th, 2022, 6 p.m. council meeting approved with a vote of 4-0, one abstention. All right, resolutions. Resolution 22-141, award bid number 22014 for demolition of the structures at the former ADM site is hereby awarded to Virginia Wrecking Company, being the lowest responsible bidder in the amount of $73,143 net cost.
I'm just here for questions, and Charles is not with us today.
Okay.
So, just to add a comment on there, I spoke with quite a bit of folks, including some of our DDRA folks who have spoken against us tearing down this site. They've asked for more of us to clean up the site, make it look a little better. Is there a way that, I was going to make a motion to table tonight, this morning, this item on the agenda to see if there's a way that we can take it if the rest of the council agrees to take it instead of tearing down the building, try to clean up the property a little bit. If there's a way that we can take this item off the agenda and.
I think if to do what you're saying is to not tear down any of the buildings.
There we go.
Would
Yep.
mean we probably would have to reject the bid because that's what the
Okay,
bid was
all right.
for. But that's my opinion, Herman. Is that a?
David, it's not split up, it's all one bid, it's not.
It is all one bid. Everything is included in one bid. And I forget now, but if we take it off of the agenda, and I think we're probably gonna miss a deadline that we have to
Respond.
to award the bid. And, we've been down this road before. We've looked at it multiple ways, multiple times. We've not had an opportunity to get anything done for anywhere near this price and the credit that this company was offering for scrap value. And my fear is that these companies will tire of bidding it. But I guess that's always the risk that we take.
Well, I think for me, I'd like to see the site cleaned up. With the action we're seeing downtown, that site may be more attractive for somebody to repurpose them. They're neat buildings. I think they bring a value, and if somebody buys that property to develop it and they want to demo it, then let them incur the cost of demolition. That's just my thoughts on it.
Well,
The unassigned fund balance, however, there is potential for some budgeted items related to demolition, having availability to be able to use that. It wouldn't cover the whole thing, but it would offset some of it, so it could be a split. Potentially, yes.
So, does anybody know, it may be more of a Charles thing, but on the scrap value, I'm a bit skeptical of $190,000, but if it doesn't come in at that, we're on the hook for
No.
the difference?
No, sir, that's what they bid. I mean, this is like getting a gift. And, you know, Dana and I were talking about the demo, but if someone were to want to go in and use the buildings, the cleanup and the lead paint and stuff that could be on the building. Now, we know we don't have asbestos, but back when these things were built, pre-74, everything had lead-based paint. And I've no reason to believe that the steel and probably any other components there would have that. The abatement of that alone, just to be able to clean them and redo them and use the buildings for something else could be phenomenal. But if you're demolishing them, that doesn't come into play. That's for restoration. So I'll share that with you. I don't have an answer.
What about from like a community development standpoint? I mean, do you guys, are there safety issues or any kind of issues there?
Yes, sir. We have someone that does the best that they can to mow the perimeter and the small areas there that can be cut. But we've got people going and coming. We've got homeless people that go in and out. I've gotten calls before we had some young people that would park across the railroad tracks and get on the conveyors and walk around and climb around up there. And I had someone go out and take a torch and cut one of the ladder off over at the elevator. They've managed to find another way up there. We can't keep the buildings secure. We've had them all locked, either the fences or the doors, the entrances to the buildings, and we've got doors open again, siding peeled up. I have actually, it's strange, but I have seen coyotes in one of those buildings. The last time that we went over there. So, yeah, it's certainly up to the council, but I'm just here to help.
All right, any other discussion?
So there's issues, concerns with trespassing,
Yes, sir.
concerns, safety concerns. I get about, I guess whenever visiting with developers, about 50-50 of 50% would maybe consider repurposing the property and the existing structures with the conveyors removed. 50% would just like to start from scratch. I get what you're saying, Mr. McMasters. But whenever you bring in the cost of the abatement as it relates to the lead paint, that's something else to weigh heavily. And then the fact that the number's a firm number, and that's a good number to get this done and get it cleaned up. If we take the structure, the conveyors down and clean up the property around it, we'll have to go back with another fence because the fence will need to come down for us to be able to clean the property. Is that?
Yes, sir. It was more cost effective to remove the fence you've got too much stuff that's grown in it. You take all manual labor to clean it, and I've had some fence put up on the railroad side and had that repaired, and I guess somebody backed a tractor trailer in it or something and destroyed that. So we've not had good luck keeping it secured. About the only other alternative that we've come up with that might be viable, but it's never been bid that way, was to take down everything overhead and all the conveyors and demolish the southernmost building there at West Moulton Street, and then tear down the building that's in the worst shape on the north end, and then try to take the siding up on the buildings. But, you know, all those components are engineered, and when you start, that would open it up maybe and negate the need for fencing around the property, because it'd be like two big pavilions. But when you start taking the skin off and stuff, they were designed and engineered to have that. So then we may wind up having to have some engineering work done and some different purlins put in, or bracing and whatnot, to get them to withstand the wind load. So, yeah, it's a lot of design work and iffy stuff that gets involved with some of that.
Thank you.
So there was conversation about taking down the small little storage warehouse on the very front. It almost doesn't, it seems to be newer to me than the rest of it. And then the one in the very back is in the worst shape. So you would only be leaving the two that kind of
The two that are parallel, they're the newest, they're the newer of the four buildings.
Okay.
But again, keeping people out of them, keeping it secured, it's just been problematic.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Yeah, go ahead, sorry. 3 minutes.
I'm Kelly Thomas. I'm the director for the Decatur Downtown Redevelopment Authority, and our board actually is unanimous in wanting to save these buildings at this time. We are not opposed to demolition if that's what a developer wants when they do purchase the property, but we do feel that there is value in those buildings because of the kind of developments we're seeing. There's things like Stove House, Low Mill in Huntsville. These are all properties that we're familiar with that actually utilize this kind of structure. Now, whether or not the building itself can be used structurally is up to the architects, but there is authentic skin from cotton warehouses that you just can't recreate once it's gone, and you can't mimic that look. So we do want to keep those just for the sake of attracting the right development to this property, and ultimately let the developer decide what happens to those buildings. And then the cost is on the developer, it's not on the city. We don't have to pay the $73,000 out of the city's pocket. But we've also received emails and support from multiple private citizens wanting to save these buildings because they are iconic. People recognize them as a part of downtown, and right now they're actually the most marketable they've ever been in the past 20 years that they've been on the market, because we're seeing development across the tracks. City cafes being renovated, we're building a new parking deck, we've got a hotel, dorms. So this section of downtown is actually about to just explode with development and growth. So this piece of property is honestly the most marketable it's ever been for us as a downtown. So we'd really like to just see the buildings stay at this time, and we would fully support y'all cleaning up the property, and we would appreciate that, and obviously securing it with a fence that's standing upright and not laid down. But we do feel that it ultimately should be up to the developer's discretion on whether or not the buildings come down, because we do see that there's value in those buildings. I did speak with Caroline Swope, who is our renovation specialist for the city. She's out of town today. But she did say there are some tax incentives for keeping the buildings if a developer does wish to keep them and utilize them. So it's not just saving the city money if we don't have to pay to demolish these buildings, but it could be an incentive for a developer if that's how we feel about the buildings, and we hope that y'all consider keeping them. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. All right, any other discussion? So if we are not accept, we would need to reject the bid if that's what the council, okay.
Well, would the council, if that were to happen, the conveyors, things of that nature, would that be something we could address?
I think we just have to rebid more in line with what was been discussed today, which is,
Redefine the scope.
yeah, which is the clean up the overgrowth. If the conveyors are a safety concern, I think the building on the front probably needs to come down. It doesn't serve any real purpose, but, yeah, we need to redefine what the bid is for.
I would say this, that if we have to do a rebid, I think we're gonna wind up with a different contract. I don't think that the people that bid this for this price, in all likelihood, are not gonna bring equipment up here from Daphne to do this. We're looking at another contractor. I would expect that the cost we may get less for more.
I think you definitely will, because you have less scrap. I mean, the big piece of that was the scrap, but. All right, any other discussion? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. McMasters. Second by Mr. Pike.
What are you voting on?
What is the motion?
It's, this resolution would be to reject the bid or accept it. Right?
I know it's to reject it, yes, it's to.
That's right.
Okay, we'll make sure.
No, we're voting on this resolution. If you vote yes, you're saying we're tearing them down, and if you vote no, we're rejecting the bid and we'll go back out. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, any discussion? For me, I've been pretty split on this one. I actually would say I would like to tear them down, to accept the bid, just because they've been sitting there for, how long have we owned them, Herman, do you know?
Several decades.
Yeah, I mean, and I get that there's a lot going on downtown, but people have had a long time to look and see. There's also operational businesses on those properties that present a challenge for development. So I don't know. I've been kind of back and forth on this one, but we'll see how it goes. Any other discussion? Roll call. Aye.
No.
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 All right, resolution 22-141 is fails with a vote of 4-1. Resolution 22-142, approve capital improvements to the security gate at the Decatur Police Range. Chief?
Council President, this is just I had to do a formality. It's got no more money from you guys during when we was doing the security gate. We missed the meter base on the actual proposal, so it's going to come out of our budget, but we have to have that to power the gate.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 22-142 is approved 5-0. Resolution 22-143, authorized police department expenditure of $600,000 for purchase and outfitting of fleet vehicles.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 22-143 is approved 5-0. Resolution 22-144, approved budget amendment for the purchase of additional garbage carts from Auto Environmental Services.
Yes,
Daniel.
Good morning, council. 504 additional carts, so that we can distribute throughout the city.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion?
extent of the need, I understand we had 200 or so that, is point correct?
Yes, sir.
And how fast do we go through those codes?
Between 125 and 150 per month.
And that you did mention, I think, last week,
The
there's
cost
a
of
cost.
resin is increased. There's a $14,000 surcharge on this truckload, and with the cost of
Fuel for
petroleum.
delivery,
Yeah,
okay,
so-
yep. All right,
How
thanks.
did we get to a point when we were so low, and basically 2 months worth of containers left?
So prior to, I started here January 24th. Prior to that, we were waiting on carts. And so have a spreadsheet of how many that we take out. A lot of our carts are old, maybe 15, 20 years old. And so they're getting to the point we cannot repair them. And at the price of $54 a cart, it's actually cheaper for me to purchase a cart than to pay a supervisor to go out and repair them. But we don't want to have our citizens wait 6 weeks for the delivery of carts. So we're at the point now, if we order them, I have enough in stock, especially with some new developments. I believe Dane sent me, we had a few hundred permits out. I want to be able to get them some new carts when they come in too.
So we're basically on the verge of being short when you came here, is what you're saying?
We were short, we were waiting.
All right, any other discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 22-144 is approved with a vote of 5-0. Resolution 22-145, approve PPM Consultants to assist with Brownfield grant application.
So moved.
Good morning, Mayor and Council.
He made a
Okay,
motion. Motion by Mr. Pepper. Is there a second?
I'll second it,
Yeah.
but if you can explain.
Second by Mr. Pike, and go ahead.
Okay.
Susan.
This is to give PPM consultants, to get them to assist us with the Brownfield grant. What they will do is write the grant. We do not have to pay them to write the grant. Once we get awarded this grant, they make their money off of the environmental assessments. So that's where they get paid,
No cost to the city.
right?
Do we have certain areas they would look at specifically, or?
Once we get awarded this bid, we will move forward with Dane and Tom Hill, Alan and myself, and then we will come up with a list
Okay.
of different properties. However, I don't think that those properties would be made public because of the assessments.
Okay, yeah. All right, any other discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 22-145 is approved 5-0. Resolution 22-146, approve 2022-2023 CDBG action plan.
This is to approve $442,645.82 that's the total budgeted amount. This is broken down between different programs with CDBG. You have your program administration, your public services, which are like DYS, Commission on Aging, PACT, Mental Health, Volunteer Center, and Decatur Youth Enrichment as well. We also have the housing down payment assistance for first-time home buyers, and then CAPNA now has this new rehab to where they'll go in and rehab some of the existing homes. And then, of course, the Everyday Sunshine Park.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Pepper, second by Mr. McMasters. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Resolution 22-146 approved 5-0. Boards and committees appoint Douglas Morris for his first full term to the library board with term ending June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Pepper,
Second.
second by Mr. Pike. Any discussion? Roll call. Aye.
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 Douglas Morris's appointment is approved 5-0. The next council work session will be held on June 27th, 2022 at 5 p.m. The next regular council meeting will be held on July 5th, which is a Tuesday, I believe, 2022 at 6 p.m. Anything else from any directors? Mayor?
No, sir.
Anything else from council? All right, we're dismissed. Thanks.